Ellie Katz, great to connect with you. Appreciate you being on the podcast today. Founder, President, CEO, National Retail Solutions, NRS, leading point of sale platform for independent retailers across the United States and Canada. All right, you started your business in 2015. We're recording this in 2026. What has changed about being an entrepreneur and an owner of a company, and what hasn't changed?
So thank you, first of all, for having me. I really appreciate being on with you. You certainly have an amazing reputation in the business community with all that you do with the solo entrepreneurs, the Fortune 500, 100, and everyone in between.
Thanks.
So it's an honor to be with you.
Thanks.
Well, I'll tell you, I started the point of sale register business specifically to help the independent convenience stores in the country. Now, all over the country, they're called something else, but they're all pretty much the same, which is your corner grocery. So, in New York, New Jersey area, we know them as bodegas. In California, they're known as tiendas. In Michigan, they're party stores.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I learned that when I went to Michigan. I was like, how many bodegas do you guys have? You're like, what's a bodega?
Yeah.
Right? So when I first started, we walked into these stores, many of them, of which at that time we were told that there was about 200,000 independent convenient liquor and tobacco shops. Now there's a lot more. And I'll tell you why in a minute. And many of them were using the old like Casio or Sharp register, with no real intelligence, almost like a flip phone, right? A really good register, but it just makes a phone call, keeps your addresses. It doesn't have the intelligence like a smartphone. And a lot of these stores were even going with just a shoebox or a cigar box, taking money out. So it was like a double sale for me. I had to first tell them why they needed a point of sale register. Things have been going great with your business until now, and you've been using what you've been using. Why should you switch? And then I had to tell them why they should switch to National Retail Solutions. Anyways, fast forward 11 years later, we've got 35,000 locations coast to coast, plus we're in Canada, and we're in every single state, including Michigan, Hawaii, Alaska, Montana.
Yeah. So what's changed as an entrepreneur today, as a business owner versus when you started in 2015?
The technology. When we first started, okay, Amazon was always Amazon, but obviously the Amazon of today is a lot more robust and service oriented and can get you basically anything, that you can probably get at your local convenience store for the most part. But also a lot of the other technology platforms that have hooked up with the big, like the big chain stores, the brick and mortar chain stores. So now that small local convenience store is not just competing for that little area that they're in, but now they're competing against all of the technology that's circling that area and pulling their customers, from them. And that's we pride ourselves in knowing what some of the pain points are for the small business, our customers. I happen to be a small business owner myself. My background is I own restaurants. I even own a candy shop. So I know the pain or the pain points that these merchants have. So we built a very robust but very easy to use point of sale register, and we put in there loyalty, rewards, inventory, e-commerce, protections for safety, protections from theft, all the different features and functionality. And then we put on the white gloves and we hold these merchants' hands and educate them how to use it. Because you have to remember also, John, that these merchants, they're not just the owners, but they're the employee of the month, the people behind the counter, the HR director, the purchasing agent. Like, they do everything. And they're dealing with the problems that are in front of them today, or I should say they're dealing with maybe the customers and trying to service the customers that are in front of them today. They don't really have the time to do the research, nor do they have the money to be able to fight these multi-million-dollar companies that have, millions of dollars to spend in marketing and purchasing and planograms and everything else. So that's where National Retail Solutions has thrived.
Let me ask you a question. I love what you're talking about as far as, you create it, you come up with as many areas to make it simple, and then you train them. Typically, what I see is once that happens, you know, technology evolves as you've mentioned, and then something needs to be made even simpler. How are you examining, because I think a lot of companies are going through this right now, right? You have something, you reverse engineer it to make it even simpler, and then your user says like, I need it simpler, and then you keep on youngering it down and youngering it down to take less time, to take away the friction. When you look at your business, how are you paying attention to where the friction is, so you're kind of 60, 90 days in front of the friction, and what are you listening for on where those friction points are? Is it the pause? Is it a cadence of use? Because I think every company, I don't think all companies are. I think all companies need to look at, where can I take away the friction and simplify something for my user? Because today they'll quickly go somewhere else.
So that's a really, really great question. And honestly, I've never been asked that question, but it's so perfect for what we do. So first of all, the one, I guess, foundation that we have to remember is that everybody has different needs, right? So even though a liquor store may have a different need, a convenience store may have a different need, a liquor store or a convenience store in a different geographical area may have a different need. So that's the first thing that I have to remember. The other is that I don't have my head in the sand. I don't. Yes, we're a company now, and you have a lot of executives making decisions, but they're making decisions based on them being intelligent individuals and what they think is common sense. I go out to 10 to 12 stores a month. I visit them around the country, quite frankly, around the world. And I listen to them and I ask them those exact questions that you asked me, that no one's ever asked me before. And and from there, I figure out, okay, what is it that you need in order for me to make it simpler and make it easier, remove some of the steps, and or remove some of the friction points or some of the challenges. And based on that is how I come back. I talk to my team, and then we build our roadmap, right? Because it's like a technology roadmap. You can write things down on the list, but each item on the list can take weeks to code and to test, to put the UI and the UX and make it fancy looking and easy looking. That's the other thing is sometimes people make it too complicated when they, because they're, these are, you have to imagine the people that are developing these technologies, they're a lot of intelligent individuals. And by the way, the community that we serve, I have some individuals that are owners of these stores that have schooled my CTO. They've called up and said, hey, this is what you should be doing if you want to integrate with camera systems. You should get this, so like, and some of them obviously, may not even speak the language. So we have to come up with something that's very user-friendly and that can be used for the broadest group of community that we have. And at the same time, make sure that it's practical. So that they can work with us. So that's what we do.
And the importance of going to these 10 to 12 meetings, locally, regionally, around the country, around the world, I work with a lot of, I'm a business coach and sales coach and leadership coach. And I work with a lot of people who sometimes are very hesitant to actually get in the field, which is where the magic happens. And so, talk about the influence you have and the ability you have to hear what's going on in the pulse of your business by getting out and actually meeting face to face with your clients.
So, when the CEO of the largest point of sale register for the independent convenience stores, and we're known now in this community, people know that we are literally built an amazing product for the liquor, convenience, tobacco, gas stations. And then now we've also expanded it to vape shops, CBD shops, cafes, pizzerias. Now we're going into the QSR space. But, when I walk in and I give them my card and I start talking, listen, some people want to talk to me. Some people don't want to talk to me. But, I learn from them all. Many of them are very open and happy. Some of them are also busy, right? I explained to you how they're running a store. I try to be patient. And it's not just, by the way, I just mentioned about like my hobby, like when I go to a trade show in a different state and I look up on my store finder and I find my local, a store that has a National Retail Solutions point of sale register. We also have built in events. Like, for example, on the 30th of this month, we have a Mets game where we invited all the merchants from New York and New Jersey, not just our customers, but potential customers, some of our vendors, a lot of our employees, the sales organizations, come to this Mets game. This is the 5th or 6th year that we're doing it. We have a big tailgate party, and it gives me an opportunity in a very more relaxed setting to communicate, and not just me, my entire team, communicate with the merchants, the people that we serve, the people that we want to see successful, and hear from them and take back that feedback. So there's a lot of these events that we go to, trade shows, we solicit feedback. We even have a merchant advisory board that we created for our company, where we have, they're like the early testers of stuff. People that raised their hand and said, we're willing to be testers.
Yeah.
And that's great because it's a nice, I guess, group of individuals, a mixed group of individuals that are testing it and giving feedback.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm hearing you say is your business is about taking away the friction, getting face-to-face, and listening to feedback to grow your business.
Yes, but more importantly, my business is for the merchant, by the merchant, built by the merchant.
Yeah.
Right. So not just like, okay, this is merchant, this is what you need, and this is what you should use, and this is how you should use it, and this is what you do. Yeah. And by the way, sometimes there's conflict. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes we go into, one merchant says, I wish that it didn't have this button. And one merchant says, hey, how come it doesn't have this button? It's like, it's like having two GPSs in your car.
Yeah.
One says go to the left when you get to the stop sign. One says go to the right. Ultimately, you're trying to get to the same destination, but they have two different ways to get there.
Who taught you about business early on in your life? Who was a mentor early on?
I have to say that my father's probably my greatest mentor. He used to take me, and now that I think about it, like what he used to do, like he used to take me to a lot of his meetings, like business meetings. And I would sit there and he would tell me straight out, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you listen twice as much as you speak, And, I would sit there and I'd watch his style. I wish, honestly, I was 10% as good as my dad. He walks into the room and he really has an instant connection with people. Unfortunately, he decided to semi-retire and focus his time with his grandkids and great-grandkids. But yeah, my father used to, and he'd encourage it. And, I actually went the path personally of when I was 11 years old, I went and became a paperboy. And that was an interesting lesson for me. It taught me that, coming home from school, which I don't understand how anyone would get the newspaper now that I think about it at 3:30 in the afternoon, like the day's over. But I used to deliver newspapers for about a year and some change. I used to have to go and collect my own money. I got ripped off by some of my neighbors. I still drive by the house and go, that woman over there. Oh,
that shows me $19.14. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm telling you, that is the truth. By the way, just a quick story. She went away, and she specifically told me that her daughter is going to pick up the paper, but she doesn't want me to stop because she wants people to think that she's home.
Yeah.
Then when I came back to collect, she said, no, I was away. I'm not paying you, or something like that.
Bad karma. Bad karma.
I'm 11 years old. I just got stiffed.
Yeah.
By my neighbor.
Yeah.
I wasn't, this is not like selling in another country. I was like, she's 1 block over.
Yeah.
And then when
Well,
I
let me ask
became,
you a question. I want to go back to your dad for a second.
yeah,
Tell me one thing your dad did that you just learned through observing him that was, kind of the soft sale that generated him business.
I think that when he negotiated, he also listened. Meaning, a lot of times that and I said this to someone 2 days ago at a breakfast. I said, this is my second meeting with you. And I think one of the reasons that this deal is not happening is because every time I feel I leave the meeting and you don't understand my position.
Yeah.
And until you understand my position, I understand your position. But until you understand my position, I don't think we're going to be able to make a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that that's something that he taught me, that he really does listen to what the other side is asking for and what their needs are, and based on that, we can customize some type of arrangement to make it a good for you and a good for me. I hate that stupid line of, "Oh, a good deal is when both sides are unhappy." I don't think so. A good deal is when both sides are happy.
Very fair, and very win-win.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. All right, quick speed round. A book that made a big impact on you.
I'm not a reader, so I can't.
What about an article or a TED Talk, or
I mean, I watch a lot of like CNBC or MSNBC, Shark Tank.
All right, good. That's a good question. So, what's one thing you learned on Shark Tank?
I observe people.
Yeah.
That's how I observe how people communicate. When they ask a question, would you be willing to do 52%? Like that, like the way they say it is you see their vulnerabilities and you understand that this person is not gonna, whether or not this person can be successful. I will tell you something that my father did tell me that resonates forever, and that is, if you're not willing to walk away from a deal, you'll never be successful.
Yeah, amen. That's a great. If you could have coffee with anybody, living or dead, who would it be and why?
You know what? I've always wanted to be asked that question, but I honestly never thought I would be asked that question. But, I'm not sure that if I gave you my answer, your listeners would appreciate it, because they don't understand my kookiness, but I probably would want to sit down with some of these world leaders, and understand some of their background and ask them some of those questions that you ask. I would pick some of those world leaders that people are not fans of, that you could insert that name here. I have a couple of names.
Yeah.
The Kim Jong-uns or the Putins of the world, and I would love to be able to sit down and understand them.
Yeah. I think, I mean, what would you want to understand?
I want to understand what they're like. We see the today of that leader. I want to understand what brought them to today. Like what molded them, what made them, how do they think, how do they tick,
Best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
Work hard, be honorable, be fair, but firm.
Finish this sentence. One thing everybody can do to look at their business a little bit differently and take out the friction of their own business is?
I think you have to be open-minded in business, and I think you have to be willing to pivot. I mentioned that I have a restaurant. I asked my partner to, now that I have the point of sale registers integrated with Uber and DoorDash and Grubhub, I am amazed, right? Because I know how successful these companies are, these marketplaces are with restaurants. I'm amazed how much volume they do with convenience stores, right? Because the convenience stores, they can buy a Coke anywhere. Coke is, chips are chips, snacks are. My partner said to me, this is the way we've been doing it for 30 years. We've been delivering without these companies. Why do we need to do it now? To me, that's the nail on the coffin.
Yeah. Tell everybody who your ideal client is and where they can connect with you.
National Retail Solutions, NRSplus.com. Honestly, we're fortunate that the backbone of this country is 33 million small or independent businesses. And we have products for you, whether it's point of sale register, whether it's credit card processing, whether it's payroll or cash advance or other features. We come before you start a business, or come to us and look at NRSplus.com, National Retail Solutions, and see how we can customize a product to help you grow your business and be more successful.
It's great. Elie, I appreciate your time. I love your thoughts on, listening, taking away friction, getting face-to-face, listening to feedback, creating your business for the people that you serve and listening to them, built by them, for them. I think it's great. Congratulations on what you built and continue to build. Appreciate you layering in some wisdom of your dad into the mix. I'm glad he's
a special individual. I'm very fortunate.
I'm glad he's enjoying your life. If Elie can help you, please reach out to him. If I can help you, johndwoskin.com. Elie, thanks, man. This was great.
John, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's a real honor.
Please. My pleasure.